What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel once again, and welcome back to another tank review. Due to popular demand, yes, we are taking out the M4A3E2, or the Sherman Jumbo, or Jumbo as it's more commonly known, the Tier 6 American medium tank, which is the more heavily armored variant of the Shermans down at Tier 6 when you compare it to the Easy 8 and the Sherman Firefly, which the British get. It definitely trumps the other two for armor, but it has some trade-offs in different areas, which I'm gonna let you guys know. You guys know how I do. I'm gonna be going over the armor values, the stats, all of the good stuff that you want to be informed with when you walk away from this video. Maybe you're grinding this line, I don't know, but hopefully this is going to be helpful for you. The last review on the Centurion 7.1 did get a really good positive feedback, so I'm hoping for a similar result on this one right here. But without further ado, let's get over to tanks.gg so I can let you guys know about the armor values and all that. So we'll move across to it now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are on tanks.gg taking a look at the armor values of the Sherman Jumbo. As always, I'm going to start with the front of the tank and move on to the side and the rear. There's also a different turret which I want to show you on this one, but we'll get to that. So let's start with the frontal armor on this tank. So the armor ranges from 0 to 165 millimeters of thickness, and as you can see by the lower glacis flashing and doing its thing down there, that is the armor, which is 165 millimeters thick. So we'll start with this. It is angled at 53 degrees, which gives it an effective thickness of 277 millimeters to 270 millimeters of armor, and then it's probably just in the corners it's just a bit more because of the angles and whatnot, but nothing really is going to get through here. Even Tier 8s will struggle with that. I think the only Tier 8 that would quite easily go through that is the ISU 152 with premium ammo, maybe. I may be wrong though, but that is a very, very thick part of the tank, and Tier 4 all the way through to Tier 8 are going to struggle to penetrate that. So anything that you see is not going to go through that point right there. We then move up to this dark orange area, which is 139 millimeters of thickness, as you can see, and it's angled differently in different places. So towards the bottom here, it's angled at 41 degrees and gives an effective thickness of 184 to 186, and then further up it's angled at 17 degrees, which gives an effective thickness between 144 to 100. Oh, sorry, because that's actually a different plate of armor, but yeah, 144 to 146 ish as you move further up, but that's angled at 17 degrees. Same all the way across, and then you've got this thicker portion here. Again, it's of 139 millimeters, but it's angled slightly differently, or it's got one more degree of angle. And on the sides, it's a lot thicker towards the side. The middle is quite tame. 18 degrees of angle. Effective thickness between 146 and 174, but towards the side here you're looking at sort of 215 millimeters of effective thickness all the way across that little bar right there. We then move up to the lighter shade of orange, which ranges between 171 millimeters of thickness to 178. Now that's 123 millimeters thick, but due to the angle of 44 degrees, it ranges between 171 and 177 millimeters of thickness. We then move on to the upper plate, which is 101 millimeters of thickness. Towards the very bottom of the upper plate, it is around 126 millimeters thick, because of the 37 degrees of angling, and then towards the very top it's about 132. I think tier 4 and tier 5 would struggle with the upper glacis. Tier 6, some guns, especially some of the German guns I can think of, may go straight through here with just regular AP ammo. I know the T-34-88 and the VK-36, the 88mm gun on those tanks struggles to penetrate the upper glacis unless they're firing premium. There is actually a machine gun port right here, but it's not modelled on this for some reason. I don't really know why. But that is a frontal weak spot. Sorry. So if you are looking for somewhere to penetrate on the jumbo and you're struggling with the upper glacis, do try and aim for the machine gun port because it is a weak point. For some reason it's not modelled on this, so I can't give you the actual armor values, which is a shame. But yeah, you should be able to go through that spot. So moving on to the frontal turret armor. Now this is the same turret that is on the M4A3E2, the Easy 8. It has 63mm of armor all round, 39 degrees a second traverse speed, 370 meters view range, and the health and the weight don't really matter to us because weight's not taken into consideration on Xbox. But yeah, it has a better view range and a better traverse speed than the other turret, which I'm going to show you, but the armor is considerably worse. So we will take a look. 63mm on the front, as it says. Armor angling varies at different points, but you can kind of expect, I mean, on the very outer edges here, it's always going to be a ricochet due to the angle. Look at the effective thickness. But anything landing in this region here, or just under the gun mantlet or on the cheeks, anything is gonna go straight through. Maybe some tier 4s would struggle, but I would say tier 5, tier 6, tier 7 and tier 8 is gonna go straight through this turret because it's not the best turret armor. The gun mantlet on the other hand is decent, but in specific spots. So you can see here on the very outside of the gun mantlet, you've got spaced armor. So, and varying layers of spaced armor. You've got 44mm of spaced armor there, with 63mm of armor behind it. Just here you've got 88mm of spaced armor with 63mm behind it. And then right here you've only got 88mm of spaced armor with nothing behind it. So the closer you get to the gun, the weaker the armor gets. But the further away from the gun, the stronger it gets because of the spacing. And I mean, up here I think it's just always a ricochet angle, roughly. Yeah. So taking a look at this orange section on the front of the turret as well. It's only effectively 70mm thick. It ranges from about 61 to 77 at the top. So, sorry, it's only 44mm thick, but because of the 55 degrees of angle, which progressively gets better as you move up the turret, that is a very likely ricochet if you strike the top, because it is well angled and it's not a very flat spot for rounds to go through there, especially if the jumbo is cresting a ridge and it's sort of arced backwards. Like, you can't really do it on here, but if it's like, obviously if it's like this, then you're not even going to hit that spot anyway. But yeah, the cupola is only 38mm thick all around, but if you strike it on certain angles, it will be a ricochet. So I'm going to try and get it. He says that and then he can't produce the ricochet. Nope. Okay, never mind. So, but I have seen it happen. If you strike certain angles of this, it's just going to bounce straight off. But generally, if you come across a hold down jumbo, you're going to, you can shoot through the cupola. It is weak. it is very weak. 38 millimeters of thickness, angled at 31 degrees, is 48 millimeters thick. And then 21 degrees of angling, 25 millimeters of armor, it's only 27 millimeters of effective thickness. Moving on to the side armor, it is only 76 millimeters thick, and it is angled at 0 degrees, so it is flatter than a pancake. Anything is going to go through here. If you can get around a jumbo, it's not the fastest medium in the game, especially at tier 6, like with the likes of the Cromwell floating about and the Easy 8. If you can flank it, it is very weak on the side, especially the turret is just the same. It's 63 millimeters of thickness. It's weaker than the side armor. Chances are, if you shoot here and if you shoot here, your round is going to go straight through. Straight through. But the rear armor is even worse. 38 millimeters of thickness with no angling. And there's slightly different angles on the back of the turret. But it's only if you're striking the outside of the turret that it's actually going to ricochet. Anywhere here should just penetrate. Anywhere around here should just penetrate. And that is that. So, moving on to the other turret. Now, there's two options. Personally, I use this one. I use this turret because of the gun that comes with it, the M4A3E2. That is how you determine what turret the player is using. So if you're looking at the gun and the muzzle brake is big, they're using the Easy 8 turret. The Easy 8 turret is easier to shoot. It's squishy and your round should go straight through. If, however, they are using the well-armored turret with the M4A3E2 gun, as you can see, the muzzle brake has now gotten smaller. But yeah, this turret is insane. Look at that armor. Look at that effective thickness. Like, crazy. 152 millimeters of armor all around. So front, back, and side. 152 millimeters of armor with different angles all over it, depending on where you strike it. I mean, tier 8s aren't going to have... I can think of the Tiger 2 and things like that aren't going to have too much problem going through here, especially if you load premium. But if you strike it in certain parts, like there, yeah, kiss goodbye to your round. That's what I'm saying. The gun mantlet is also absolutely insane. So, again, it works like the Easy 8s. The closer to the gun, the less armor there is. But on the exterior of the mantlet, look at that. You've got 177 millimeters of spaced armor with 152 millimeters of armor directly behind it. So that is effectively 333 millimeters thick. Not even an E1, yeah, sorry, not even an E100 heat round will go through that. Well, unless it gets a high penetration roll. But if it gets its normal penetration roll, it will not go through there, which is hilarious. This is a hell of a strong turret, and even if you're gonna try and shoot the cupola, look how thick that thing is. It's just dumb. Like, it's 152 millimeters thick and angled better than the other cupola that there is on the other turret. And look at the effective thickness, guys. It's crazy. Maybe if you hit it bang center and you're a tier 7, tier 8 with high penetration, of course you're going to go through it. But if you hit it on the outskirts, yeah, your round is ricocheting off and bouncing off and going into, you know, RNG space. So yeah, 152 millimeters thick all around. This turret is great, but there are sacrifices when you have this turret. The first, of course, is the traverse speed. So this one is 32 degrees a second. It only has 330 meters view range, and yeah, that's, in my opinion, that's not too good for a medium tank. You also have the trade-off of not having the M4A2 gun. You have the M4A1, which has a worse rate of fire. It has 14.29 rounds per minute. The penetration is exactly the same as the M4A2 with 128mm of penetration on the AP shells, 177mm of penetration with APCR, and 38mm of penetration with high explosive. Damage is exactly the same, 115 with AP and APCR, and 185 with high explosive if you penetrate. The accuracy is worse at 0.43, and the aim time is exactly the same. So if I swap back to this turret, you will see the M4A2 has 18.18 rounds per minute, much better DPM, penetration and damage is exactly the same, but 0.4 accuracy. It may not seem like much to have 0.3 more, but it really is an improvement, especially when you're running vertical stabilizer and you've got brothers in arms, and you know the skill increases the accuracy of your crew. So I think it's actually around 0.39, but we'll confirm when we go to the stats and check it out. It does have the Ford GAA engine. It's also, it has 520 horsepower, 0.20% fire chance. The traverse speed on the fully upgraded tracks is 32 degrees a second, and the signal range on the radio is 615 meters. I run my Jumbo with a vertical stabilizer. It is one of 2 tier 6s that can run a vertical stabilizer, I do believe. The other one being the EZ8 Sherman, and it just makes shooting on the move in these tanks so good. It does give them quite a unique advantage down at tier 6 in the mid tier. It is yeah, it's quite good, quite a good piece of equipment to have. I also go for the tank gun rammer for better DPM. I mean, this thing has crazy DPM anyway, which is why I don't go for vents to further increase the DPM. I would rather go for coated optics to increase the view range, because when you're using this turret, you've got 370mm of base view range, and then you add another 10% to that. That's 407 meters of view range on the tier 6, which is pretty damn good. You can also then increase it by a further 10% because Brothers in Arms increases it by 5%, and the combination of situational awareness and recon will also increase it by another 5%. So the potential to have a very good view range down at tier 6 is there if you combine all of those factors. Other good skills to train, of course, smooth ride. Camouflage is always good on mediums. Clutch braking is decent. Snapshot, of course, and safe stowage. Although I've never really been, I don't think I've ever been ammo racked in this Sherman. I can't recall it, but the ammo racks are, I believe they're located in the side around here. There's like an extra, I think on the actual tank model there's an extra plate of armor, and that's where the ammo racks are located, like somewhere here, and then sort of around the floor area there-ish. But yeah, I've never had my turret popped in it, luckily, which is always nice. So we'll just check out the stats quickly, just to give you a quick overview of that. So as you can see, that's the view range with all of the additional bonuses. So 434.62 meter view range with coated optics, Brothers in Arms, recon, and situational awareness, as well as the EZ8 turret. Whereas if you use this turret with all the upgrades, the more heavily armored turret with all the upgrades, you still get 387 meters of view range. But why have 387 when you can have 434? I mean, that's crazy. And of course, look at the DPM difference. 2,477.56, and then down to 1,946 with the M1A1. For me, it's a no-brainer. I would rather have that. With all the crew skills and the tank gun rammer, it does make a massive difference. Massive difference. 10 degrees of gun depression and 25 degrees of gun elevation. The gun characteristics is all the same all the way around the tank. So you get 10 degrees of gun depression, every single, or sorry, at every single angle around the tank. So no matter where you traverse the turret, you're going to have 10 degrees of gun depression, and no matter where you traverse the turret, you're going to have 25 degrees of elevation, which is always nice because some tanks are restricted by the tank themselves, such as the FP4202, which can't get any gun depression off of its engine deck, whereas if you fancy it, you could turn backwards. You could turn backwards on a ridgeline and still get 10 degrees of gun depression, so it's really up to you. But that is about it, ladies and gentlemen. So what I will do, we will get into the gameplay, and hopefully we will do well, and we'll move on into that now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first battle on Live Oaks. We are in a Tier 8 game. It's not a very heavy Tier 8 game, but I'm gonna have to play a different role in this game. So I didn't explain that the... In fact, yeah, I'm gonna go right, why not? I didn't explain that the Jumbo is... the trade-off from the Easy 8 is that it's slower. It's more heavily armoured, therefore there's more weight on the tank, therefore it's slower. I don't think it gets the same Ford GAA engine either. But I may be wrong, so feel free to correct me if that is not the case. But it is slower because it's a more heavily armoured tank. So we're going up against a Borsig and a Type 59. Not really tanks that I want to be facing in this tank at all. But trying to move up here on the right hand side where I can use my gun depression to my advantage. Wow, they've pushed heavily on this side. This is going to be a challenge. The good thing is the DPM. The good thing is always the DPM. Okay, that's that. Move back because I think that Borsig is chilling in the bush back there. If this Panther takes a big hit, that's undoubtedly what he gets hit by. Definitely something over there. I don't really want to be facing that Type 59 head on. Good bounce. You see the effectiveness of the upper plate just there. They did actually hit one of the thickest parts, but it happens. No artillery in this game. That makes me feel good. I'm trying to see where these traces are coming from. Should be able to hit the EMX. Got the track on him. Ooh, Firefly. We can definitely do some damage to him. You see the DPM on this gun. And he's no longer there. Players. And he's going to burn to death. Good stuff. That is one of their light tanks taken out. It's just this Type 59 that I don't really want to be facing. If I can use my optics here. They're still over there. Take a guess. And we were right. I should be able to deal with the WZ-131. Oh, that's a tough target. Push back. Don't want to get caught out. Good night, nurse. Oh, I'm loading APCR for the Type 59 because it is a beast. If I could hit it, that would be great. And we got a fire going. Pretty sure I don't need APCR for the side, but he's history. Now we've just got the 88 and the Firefly over the ridge, over yonder. Did this guy lag out? Maybe. But yeah, you can see the DPM. This is why I like using the M4A2, because the DPM is nuts. And although the turret armor may not be as good, the view range is great. Here we go. I'll probably take a hit here. See, look at this. Bouncing all different types of shells. Look at the armor, guys. There we go. Ooh, that ARL can damage me though. He's a toughie. Alright, he's just fired. That is a thick upper plate. Let's go for the turret. Never mind. KV-85, derp. Come on, team. All we gotta do is attack. He's just over here somewhere. Random shell? Never mind. But 21 hits of damage and 3 kills. Not a bad game whatsoever. That was okay. That was okay. But you could see the strength of the armor there. And I mean, that was a tier 8 game, but there wasn't very many tier 8s. So it doesn't really count as a tier 8 game. I would say that was more of a tier 7 game. But 2,000 damage on the board. Hopefully you saw the effectiveness of the armor and the deliciousness of the DPM, because it really is delicious with the M4A2. But we'll hop into another battle and see how we do. We topped our team on that one. Very much so topped our team on that one. Even outscoring the IS-3, which in that matchup would just be incredible. But yeah, never mind. So, we'll get into another battle, and hopefully it will go just as this one did. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second battle here on Great Wall. Another thing that I forgot to mention about the equipment is this tank, along with the Easy 8, are the only 2 tier 6s that can equip a vertical stabilizer. So it does make shooting on the move and shooting after you've just moved the turret or just stopped your tank, or etc, etc. It's a lot better in these tanks than it is, for example, in the Cromwell or in the Firefly or in the T-34-85. The vertical stabilizer does make a massive difference. We are in a tier 6 game, so this is very, very nice. I'm going to move up to a position. This is actually only the second time that I've played this map, but last time I played this map, going up here in this area over towards the edge of the map was very good. So, one thing as well that I noticed is, whilst this is the Easy 8's turret, that mantlet looks a lot thicker than I thought it would be. It actually looks as if it keeps the thicker mantlet. I'll go back to the garage after this game and I'll compare the two. But that looks like the thicker mantlet to me. I thought it got the Easy 8 mantlet, the mantlet that's not as thick as this. Maybe that's my eyes deceiving me, making it look thicker than it actually is, but that doesn't look as thick to me. So, or sorry, this one looks thicker than it should do. But yeah, pushing up here on the edges of the map, this is a very advantageous position to be in, because it is the high ground. So what are we going to come across? Hellcat. That can hurt us. Don't think he's fully upgraded though. You can tell by the turret. He has only got the M1A1. He's down already. Let's push up. DPM absolutely shredding the other tanks ahead of us. See, shooting on the move is a good option. And again, watch this tank front line. Front line in a tier 6 game is exactly how it can be played. That Jagdpanzer can hurt us though, and his DPM's good. But He's on fire, and I don't think he's coming out of it anytime soon. Oop, there's a rock there. Come on, vertical stabilizer, do your thing. Alright, we've pushed over this side. 3 kills already. 10 hits on the board. Completely decimated everything in front of us. Only took 1 damaging hit from the Jagdpanzer, and that was it. Let's keep pushing on him. M7's doing a runner. I'm not going to bother with him. Going to push into their base and try and take out the tanks with a lot of HP. Under the bridge we go. Now the Churchill 7 is a tough target for us. But if the worst comes to the worst, we will load premium. M6 is also very tough. But hitting him just there. Okay, yeah. We've got 2 well-armoured tanks right here. But we need to get rid of them as quickly as possible so that we can cap. There we go. That's what we want right there. That is what we want right there. Should not be showing my side to this guy. But, bless him. He's a Churchill and he is slow. What? I don't know why I changed around by accident. Okay, he's firing premium, so let's back up. He's spamming APCR. That's why he was going through us like that. So, if he's going to do it to me, I'm going to do it to him. Look at the DPM though. Good night. We are going to win this game by cap, it seems. But observe the DPM. This is why I don't like to use... Ooh. What is that? Okay, that we can take frontal shots from. He says and then dies. Please don't be firing. Ah, no, we capped the base. 1 for the road. Yes. But yeah, the DPM is great. The mobility is worse than the Easy 8s. But again, damn near 2,000 damage on the board. High caliber medal. 18 penetrations. 560 damage blocked. Top of the team once again. All good in the jumbo. So that is how I like it. That is how I like to use my jumbo. I like to use it in a tier 6 game. You could see that I was just very, very aggressive. Obviously you do have to watch what tanks that you come across, because Jagdpanzer 4s will penetrate you. Nashorns, tank destroyers and artillery is a problem, but other than that you're generally okay. I'm just going to go back to the garage and confirm that the mantlet is different. I believe it's thicker on the second turret, but we'll take a look. Let's find out. So this is the mantlet on... That looks like the thicker mantlet, even though it's on the weaker turret. I didn't think it had that mantlet, but we'll see. So this is... That's the stronger turret. The one, the M1A1. Is the mantlet thicker? No. It's exactly the same. So you get the same... You get the same mantlet. Obviously you can see the difference in the muzzle brake and the gun. And the turret is a slightly different shape as well. Now, I need to give this a try. I do need to give this a try and see how it goes, because for games like the one that we just played, your turret is virtually invulnerable. It's crazy. And the gun is relatively the same, but only minor differences. But that gun mantlet is exactly the same on the weaker armored turret. That is exactly the same in thickness. So maybe excuse everything I said from tanks.gg. Please obviously bear in mind that that website reflects PC stats, so it might be slightly different on our game, but from what I can tell, you get the same gun mantlet. Yeah, you get the same gun mantlet. You get the same gun mantlet on this turret as you do with the other turret, which I didn't think you did, because if you take a look at the Easy 8, that mantlet is not as thick. That's the mantlet that I thought you get, because you get the same turret as the Easy 8. But I guess not. You get the same gun mantlet as the heavier turret, which is pretty dope. So you get to use the M4A3E2 gun with the thicker mantlet. But that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to round the video off there. Hopefully you can walk away with this with the knowledge to do some damage in the Sherman Jumbo, because it is a great tank down at tier 6. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please do give the video a thumbs up. It is massively appreciated, and it really goes a long way for the channel. And I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace.